Last time, we saw the defeat of Dr. Willow, as well as the fallout from that. While at first it seemed like this arc wouldn't have any consequences, it actually directly led to someone checking out Earth. The armored squadron picked up on the power that Dr. Willow gave off, leading them to scout out Earth, and now losing one of their men as well. So what's going to happen from here on out? We'll be seeing all that and more in this part 4 of What If Bulma Was a Z Fighter. After hearing that they're being spied on, Bulma immediately decides to look into it. She does have her scouter still, and maybe this could help out here. Raditz wonders why she's still using that thing. She's using Raditz's scouter, and he's learned to live without it, and he knows that they could all sense ki. The people they're fighting are long gone, so it's not like they could find them with or without a scouter. And that might have helped against Dr. Willow, but it's not going to help here. But she tells Raditz that he should know how smart she is by now. This scouter is basically a multi-tool for her. Originally it was used to just help her build things, but after using it against Dr. Willow, she realized that it has actual combat purpose too, besides just tracking people's powers. She's using it for recon actually, and they scan the area where the armored squadron attacked, trying to find any weird clues there. She finds a few pieces in Naze's armor, but most importantly, she finds a piece of his scouter, one that was blown off when he was killed. Buried away underneath some dirt, and Raditz and Piccolo wouldn't even have noticed it. This is basically their only clue of where these people came from, and she goes back to the lab with Raditz, Piccolo, and Chi-Chi, saying she'll be able to find out where this came from. She lifts it up telepathically, telling no one to touch it. And after about an hour or so in the lab, she tells them this worked perfectly. Using the armor alone would have been tough, but this piece of the scouter, well, it lets her basically reverse engineer the scouter that Naze was using. She says it was a bit tough to do, which makes no sense to Raditz because it only took her an hour, but she was able to completely re-engineer his scouter and track him down. This scouter was apparently communicating with some guy named Cooler far away. She even has the planet that he was on and the location where the armored squadron is. Naturally, Piccolo and Chi-Chi ask who this Cooler guy is, but Raditz turns completely pale. Did she say Cooler? That actually makes a lot of sense. Seeing that the armor was so similar to the Frieza Force, how could he not have realized? It's Cooler's armored squadron. He's known about Cooler, but he's never seen anything about him or his squadron. He didn't even realize that that's who he came in contact with. That squadron was Cooler's henchmen. At least that means Frieza's not after them, but this could be even worse. They know nothing about Cooler. With Frieza, at least Raditz would know something about his army, something about who he is, and he'd actually have some people that might team up with him, that being Vegeta and Nappa, although he doubts it by this point. But with Cooler, he has no clue how many people he has working with him. He has no clue how powerful Cooler is. He might even be stronger than Frieza, and they don't even know the full extent of Frieza's power. The worst part is, this could have all been avoided. Maybe if they didn't even fight the armored squadron, they would have been fine, but now Raditz is worried. They killed one of the members of the squadron. They don't know why that group was here in the first place. Maybe they were just scouting out this planet to see what it was like. And of course, they probably could have just destroyed it regardless. But there's also the chance there that nothing would have happened if they didn't intervene. And now that they directly fought them, that means Cooler's probably going to come back and find them. Raditz hates to have to do this, but he's going to work alongside the group now. After telling them all this, he realized that it's their only option. They don't know when Cooler's going to show up either, or if he'll show up. This is a huge cause of concern because they know nothing. Well, just in case, it looks like they're going to have to prepare regardless. Luckily for them, nothing really happens right away. About half a year passes. Over this time, Bulma and Yamcha actually do briefly join Goku on King Kai's planet, and he comes back to Earth as well. Surprisingly enough, there's no sign of Cooler yet. But Goku says maybe everyone should just train with King Kai, and King Kai says his planet isn't just open for everyone. But Bulma tells him to chill out, it's just her and Yamcha. And since the threat of Cooler is there, King Kai decides to just let them stay. And besides the training aspect of it, Bulma thought it might be cool to see some more alien gods or whatever, and Yamcha nervously tells her to be more respectful. She's talking way too casually to King Kai, but it's nothing King Kai's not used to because he just had Goku here for a while. Now that he's back on Earth, Goku finally gets to show off Kaioken to his friends. And after hearing that they're going to be dealing with Cooler, he's confident that this will help out. This gives him a nice power boost, and no matter how strong Cooler is, he feels like he could beat him. Or at least he's going to remain confident that he can. King Kai also did confirm who the armored squadron is, so that's an extra shot of confirmation that Cooler might be after them. And King Kai will alert them if he does make any moves. Although King Kai doesn't really know where he is right now, so he won't know until he's very close to Earth. But it's fine, they still should have more time here. Well, hopefully they do. Out in space, Cooler actually has some other missions that he went on. Earth is kinda on the back burner for him. From what he saw, the people there weren't too strong, and even though they did kill Naze and give the armored squadron some trouble, they also were almost defeated by the armored squadron too. It was a pretty even battle. There's a Saiyan there, but he's a low-class Saiyan. All he knows about is Raditz, and from what he knows about Raditz too, he was part of the Frieza Force. Cooler thinks it might not be worth meddling in right now. At first, he assumes that Raditz would have alerted the Frieza Force about this, but nothing's happened so far. Cooler's actually been awaiting Frieza's arrival, thinking that Frieza would try to retaliate against him, but now Cooler's realized Raditz probably isn't part of the Frieza Force anymore. They never see Raditz leave Earth either, and they don't see any other Frieza Force members there. He could actually go to Earth. It seemed like a waste of time before. Maybe he accidentally declared war on the Frieza Force, so he thought that going to Earth would have been kinda useless, especially because there was only one person there. But now he sees there's no connection to the Frieza Force on Earth. Frieza and his army probably don't even know that anything happened, meaning he doesn't have to worry about protecting his assets. And maybe he can actually go after this planet for himself. Also, this does bring up some weird mysteries for Cooler. Why did Raditz end up on Earth? For what reason is there a Saiyan and a Namekian on that planet, and seemingly no connection to the Frieza Force either? Maybe this is worth checking out. he's going to stand by a little bit longer, protecting his main assets, just in case Frieza does retaliate. He doesn't care about waiting too long because he's not worried that the Saiyan will grow any stronger. He'd rather be extra sure that Frieza's not going to attack him. So, once a little more time passes, he'll return to Earth, take it over for himself, and he'll be sure to kill that Saiyan. A few more months do go by. Bulma and Yamcha train with King Kai as well, with Chi-Chi training with Goku on Earth too. Of course, Krillin and Ten join in from time to time. Even Piccolo and Raditz are there. But it's mostly just Goku, Chi-Chi, and even Gohan at some points. Chi-Chi's at a nice advantage because she gets to learn Kaioken directly from Goku. Plus, having the strongest training partner on the planet right now really does help. And it's not like they're missing out on King Kai's 10 times gravity. They have a gravity chamber right here on Earth, so everything's going pretty well for them. Also, we're at a point in the story where there's not going to be any more power levels. But at the very least, we can cover how strong everyone's going to be in terms of just regular power scaling. Goku is the strongest of the group right now, and he maxes out at Kaioken times 10. Behind him are 3 people who are pretty much on the same footing. There's Yamcha and Bulma, who are both around the same in terms of their base strength, and they also have the same level of Kaioken, that being Kaioken times 4. Although, Chi-Chi is actually stronger in base than both of them. The thing is though, her Kaioken's weaker, which only maxes out at times 3 because it was Goku that taught her, not King Kai. Her training here on Earth was better for getting raw strength, because she wasn't really focused on the different techniques that King Kai had to teach. While Yamcha and Bulma are more focused on the different techniques, and while they grew a lot more in power, they more so benefited from the technique side of it. Although everything balances out, so they're on pretty much equal footing once they're all in Kaioken. But Chi-Chi is stronger in base. Then there's Raditz, who's kind of a weird case. In terms of his base strength, he actually is stronger than all the 3 humans that I just listed. Weaker than Goku, but stronger than those 3. But the thing is, he doesn't have any technique or transformation to bring him any higher. So that's why I'm placing him a bit lower. If we go just by base strength, it's Raditz, then Chi-Chi, then Yamcha and Bulma who are equal. But if we're going by the peak of their power, Yamcha, Bulma, and Chi-Chi are all around the same, with Raditz behind them. Not too far behind Raditz is Piccolo. Below that we have Krillin and Ten who are pretty much equal, followed by Chaozu. The weakest of the group is a relatively new fighter, and it's Gohan. He's actually started training a bit more. Mostly because his parents are doing it a lot and he joins them. Especially because Chi-Chi and Goku think it's good that he has the ability to defend himself. So, that's where we stand. Just under a year has passed since the last part, and King Kai alerts everyone that Cooler's heading towards Earth. At least that's who he assumes is heading there. He senses a really strong power and can't tell who it is because he's never felt what Cooler's strength is like before. But does notice a ship approaching, and there's 3 powers on it, one of which is significantly stronger than the other 2. It's Cooler and the remains of his armored squadron. By now it definitely seems like Frieza's not going to retaliate, so he can do whatever he wants with this planet, and it doesn't look like he has to worry about protecting his own territory in the meantime. This will only take a few moments anyways, and from it he'll get another planet, as well as getting rid of a Saiyan. Bulma and Yamcha return to Earth, and everyone gets ready to face Cooler. But they have no clue of where to expect him for now. Cooler's ship touches down, and immediately he sees something pretty interesting. The armored squadron only fought a Namekian and a Saiyan, and there's more people here than that, but the strangest part to Cooler is that it seems like there's more Saiyans. He has no clue who Goku is, but he can tell that he looks like one. And as for Gohan, the tail's a dead giveaway, since Gohan's tail never did get removed. He just tells the squadron to wrangle up the Saiyans for now. They have grown in strength too, wanting to make sure they claim victory this time, and get revenge for Neza's death. They try and restrain Goku and Gohan. Salza's able to steal Gohan. As for Dore, he's not so lucky, with Goku easily fending him off, and Salza's scouter picks up Goku's power. He seems pretty strong, but then he's caught off guard as Chi-Chi rushes in trying to take Gohan back, single-handedly fighting off Salza. Cooler's eyes then lock onto the 2 other people he was interested in, Raditz and Piccolo, and while those 2 fight Goku and Chi-Chi, he goes up to Raditz. His armor is an obvious sign that he was part of the Frieza Force, and he wants to know, why is this Saiyan here? Why did the Frieza Force not try and retaliate? Raditz says he's no longer part of the Frieza Force, at least he assumes so. They abandoned him here, and as much as he did want to get off this planet, it does seem like it's his new home, whether he likes it or not. Besides, he's grown quite powerful here too, and after Frieza and the rest of his squad didn't bother to come get him, Raditz thinks it's better that he's not part of that army. But then he presses Cooler. Why is he so concerned about Frieza? What, was he worried that Frieza's army would have defeated him? Actually, no. Cooler was worried that maybe Frieza would steal some of his planets in the process. And Cooler's squadron is pretty small, so they probably would have killed them. But he's not worried about Frieza's army in the slightest. He could eliminate all of them with ease, including the Ginyu Force too. As for his brother, well, Frieza's really the only concern, but again, Cooler doesn't really care too much about that. He could easily take down his little brother, even when he's using his full power in his final form. Which comes as a shock to Raditz because he wasn't even aware that Frieza had those transformations. And Cooler talks about it so casually too. That makes him even more intimidating. The remains of Cooler's squadron are defeated in the meantime. And as Cooler surveys the group, he finds it pretty interesting. You know, maybe if they combine all their powers, they could defeat Frieza. At least judging by their bases right now. Although he doubts they can make it past his 3rd form. But then they all power up and get ready to fight Cooler simultaneously. Interesting. It looks like they can lower and increase their power at will. But again, they probably couldn't even defeat Frieza, so they have no hope at defeating him. He fends them all off with pretty much no effort. He does find it interesting to see how strong these Earthlings are, but he's also impressed to see a Namekian fighting that well. From what he knows, they're mostly pacifist. But Piccolo says he shouldn't be underestimating him. He is the reincarnation of the great demon King Piccolo after all. And besides, he's not even the strongest one here. Those two low-class warriors are actually pretty powerful. Cooler didn't realize that Saiyans could grow that strong, and one of them can increase his power during battle too, with Goku utilizing Kaioken. And Cooler actually does start to have a little bit of trouble now. He has all these people fighting together, and a few of them are able to increase their power with Kaioken. Plus, the two Saiyans and that Namekian are pretty strong just in their base alone. Maybe he did underestimate them. He could continue fighting like this, but it would be a lot easier if he just transforms. He's been holding back this entire time. Cooler drops down on the ground as chunks of the earth start flying up. Lava explodes out of the ground around him, as Cooler begins bulking up, then fully transforming into his final form. His power's unfathomable. They can't believe who they're fighting right now. Honestly, Raditz thinks all is lost. With that kind of strength, how are they supposed to defeat him? But at the same time, it looks like they have no other choice but to fight. Even if they might lose here, it's not like they have a way of escaping. He'd rather fight than just stand there and die. And everyone else is pretty much in agreement too. As for Bulma, she's not too sure what to do here in terms of strategy. She does think of using the spirit bomb that King Kai taught her, but she doesn't think that'll work. Maybe it can gather enough energy to defeat him. The issue is, she doesn't think she can do it in time. No matter who does it, she doesn't think that anyone can. Her, Goku, and Yamcha could all perform it, but Cooler would obviously be able to tell that something's going on and attack them. Raditz then yells out to his brother who's fighting alongside Chi-Chi. Can't they increase their power any further? Well, Goku does try to buff up Kaioken to times 20, but that's really his limit, and Chi-Chi can't really go beyond times 3. Times 5 is really pushing it for her, and it seems like Bulma and Yamcha can't go any further either. Maybe up to times 6 or 8, but that's not going to work. They're going to have to figure out something else. Raditz is just pissed off at this whole situation. This could have all been avoided. The fact that Cooler's here, that could have been avoided. Why does he have to fight Cooler too? Why him? This all wouldn't have happened if he wasn't stuck here on this planet. Same with Dr. Willow. And now he's going to die just because Bulma wouldn't let him leave. And he's not going to have it. He's not going to die here because of something out of his hands. Cooler slowly starts taking out different members of the group. Ten and Chaozu are the first to go down, with Cooler launching a blast at them to try and kill them, but Yamcha and Krillin defend against it, although it does deal a lot of damage to those two. And Yamcha notices that Bulma's drawing back from the battle too. Realizing that she's going to try and perform a spirit bomb, he tells her to not do it, it's way too risky. She's going to draw attention to her, but she does it anyways, trying to charge a spirit bomb. And at first, Cooler's too preoccupied to notice. He's fighting Piccolo, Raditz, Goku, and Chi-Chi right now, with Gohan also trying to help the best he can. But then he realized one of the other fighters is gone, and he never defeated her. Looking around trying to find where Bulma is, Cooler's able to get Raditz and Piccolo gone next. With him of course trying to attack Gohan too, although Chi-Chi and Goku defend together but they can't really do too much. Bulma just needs a little bit more time to charge the spirit bomb, and Cooler's looking around for her. She's hidden away between some rocks, but he can see the glow from the bomb. Glad to have finally found her. He rushes over flying clean through the rocks. The spirit bomb's not even near completion yet, but Bulma can sense Cooler coming towards her. So, out of desperation, she decides to throw it at him. And it seems like it's too late for Cooler to dodge it. But he simply launches right through the bomb. It actually does do some damage to him even though it's not completed. It slows him down a bit, but much to Bulma's surprise, he still goes right after her, landing a powerful punch at Bulma, knocking her into the cliffside not far away, taking her out of commission too. Well, that was a pretty fun fight, especially since they pushed him to this level. And who knows, maybe if Bulma charged the attack a little longer, it would have done some more damage to him. Maybe it would have even killed him. He did want to take over this planet for himself, but it's best to just get rid of it. It doesn't seem like there's anything of value here anyways, and he tells them to consider this payback for killing his squadron, and messing with his bottom line. Cooler floats up in the air and charges a supernova. The area glows with an ominous orange light. Raditz props himself up, barely able to stand. He's not dying here. Why does he have to die at a place that he doesn't want to be at? It's not his fault either. Him being stuck here wasn't his choice. Only a few feet away from him, Goku also tries to stand up too, with Chi-Chi and Gohan unconscious by his side, surrounded by his friends who are all laying on the ground injured. This isn't where it ends. He won't let Cooler destroy Earth. Cooler throws the supernova down, and he prepares to leave Earth. But he then turns around and sees that the supernova is not going any deeper into the core of the planet. It seems like it's actually just stuck there on the surface, not moving at all. But he hears two powerful screams, and the supernova just suddenly explodes, with all the energy flying back towards him. And he looks in awe as he sees what's left behind by it. Those two Saiyans are standing there on the ground, both heavily injured, but looking different from before. They've changed somehow. They're surrounded by a brilliant golden glow. Raditz is standing at the forefront with his stronger younger brother Goku behind him. Both have golden hair. Both have become the things that Cooler was actually fearing a little bit. They've turned Super Saiyan. They don't even realize in the moment until they look at each other, seeing that they've each changed somehow. But that's not important right now. They just need to kill Cooler. That's all that matters. Almost at an instinct, the two launch up together, wasting no time, as they simultaneously land a punch on Cooler, and each quickly charge their own blast, using all their power to launch the injured Cooler out into space. And as Cooler is sent careening towards the sun, he realized who that other Saiyan was. He saw his space pod leaving planet Vegeta, but he did nothing about it, and he's angered at his own failure. Had he intervened earlier, this would have been avoided. They wouldn't have been strong enough to defeat him. Or, had he not intervened at all, this would have been avoided. Just what Raditz was thinking when he first encountered the armored squadron. Cooler is sent flying directly into the sun, and is killed, as Raditz and Goku fall to the ground together, with Raditz immediately transforming out of Super Saiyan and losing consciousness. But Goku stays awake for a bit longer, then smiling weakly. They won, and that power that they got, what actually was that? This is where we'll leave off for now. What'd you guys think about this part, and what's going to happen next time? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, especially if you want to see more videos like this one, or if you just want to help with the channel. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.